This is my new literacies project by Tara Duguay, Digital Literacies for Emergent Readers and Writers in Pre-K. The topic for my project was teaching alliteration. In pre-K, alliteration has to do with words starting with the same sound. It is quite a hard concept and skill for pre-K 3 students to learn, so I wanted to create a lesson plan that would expose them to several different activities over the course of a week. Students would learn about letter sounds. They will learn how to identify words that begin as the same sound as their names and their friends' names, and demonstrate an understanding of the concept of alliteration through the creation of a Chatterpix video. The digital literacy tools that students will use during this unit are the smartboard, the iPad, and on the iPad several different apps: the Chatterpix app, ABC Kids app, the Phonics A to Z app, and the Zoo Alphabet app. The daily schedule will be slightly different than possibly in other grades. Each day, the teacher will provide several activities for students to learn about alliteration. In pre-K, students' attention spans are relatively short, so in order to adequately introduce and practice target skills, several activities per day will be provided for students to participate. In this way, skills and concepts are reinforced throughout the day. On Monday, the main activity that students will engage in is reading, a reading activity which introduces and reinforces the concepts of alliteration, letter identification, and letter sound. So students will be engaged using a video called Dr. Seuss's ABC. On Tuesday, the main activity will be a teacher-made game called Yum Yum Good, and students will, we will go to a website on the smartboard called Activity Builder, where students will be able to identify their classmates' names, the sound their classmates' name starts with, and then identify from several different examples a word that starts the same as their classmate's name. For example, here's Jameson, and the two of the choices are nuts or jelly beans. So students will say, yum, yum, good, yum, yum, good. Jameson does Jameson like nuts or does Jameson like jelly beans? Well, it's not about what Jameson really likes, it's about which one starts the same as Jameson's name. So they will see their own names, which of course pre-K 3 students love to see their own picture and their own name. And then they will also see their friends and help their friends decide which of the choices starts the same as their name. On Wednesday, the main activity that students will do will be to use three of their friends' names, they will help, it will be a cooperative learning experience where they will be doing a shared writing. We will pick 3 students and we will talk about, what are the things that we've heard over the course of this week that start the same as Soraya and Naomi and Jameson. So students will be talking about those things, and I will record it on a chart so that students can, further understand the idea of alliteration. On Thursday, the main activity will be that students will use the word wall. We'll sing the word wall song. We'll talk about different things that start the same as each friend's name. And then students will have the opportunity to turn and talk. Again, using cooperative learning, this strategy involves students discussing with a partner, and they're going to discuss their name, what sound it begins with, things that start the same as their name, and then they will be able to do a writing activity where they'll draw a picture of themselves or the thing that starts the same as their name, called an alliterative pair. And so they'll do that writing in Writer's Workshop. On Friday, they will take that same writing that they did on Thursday, and they'll create a Chatterpix video of the alliterative pair to share with the class. So just like I did here, where I wrote about Miss Duguay liking donuts, and then you upload it into Chatterpix and create a video that they will then share with the class. Miss Duguay likes donuts. So the tie-ins here are that students will use play to engage in learning activities. Play enables students to experiment with their environment in an effort to problem solve. So when they're using ChatterPix video, they're going to have to fool around with it, maybe record their voices several times to make sure it sounds good, like I'm doing on this video. Secondly, students will learn cooperatively. They're going to share their knowledge when they're doing their turn and talk, and when they're doing the activity on Activity Builder, the Yum Yum Good activity. They're going to be discussing things with their fellow students and broadening their schemas and their knowledge of alliteration. Thirdly, students will use the skill of judgment and critically evaluate the credibility of different information from different sources. For example, on the Yum Yum Good activity, or the activities that they're going to use in small groups where they're going to use apps, they're going to determine answers to questions that the teacher poses, like, what sound do you hear at the beginning of jelly beans? And then they're going to hit the letter J and say, okay, J makes the J sound. Does jelly beans start with the J sound? So here they're going to evaluate the reliability of information that received. Does that go with what they know? In my reflection, I tried to think about what was I excited about. The ChatterPix app is really simple for a 3 or 4-year-old to use. They can use it with limited guidance, meaning they can take a picture of their own work and they can record their voices and then listen to it to see if that's what they want to say. When the child sees this work talking, they are more likely to remember the skills that they're learning. Some things that I'm still working on, some students still can't hear the sameness or differences in first sound. So although I might do a week-long study on alliteration, that doesn't mean that every student is going to master this concept by the end of the week. Some depends on their maturity. Are they developmentally ready to hear things that start with the same sound or differences in sound? Continued exposure in varied ways while waiting students to be developmentally ready to produce those aha moments for children is important. So even though you're teaching and teaching, in pre-K3, we don't expect students to master a concept after our, deliberately skilled lessons are over. We have to continue to expose them in different ways throughout the year. Here are some references from this PowerPoint. And I thank everybody for listening.